I'm so tired. Let me watch something to calm down.
Today is April 28th, 2026. This is Azzy, your host for today, bringing you your daily Paper Lily news. And today there has been, yes, news to report for Paper Lily today. The devlog finally dropped. Links will be in the description, and I recommend you read it yourself too. Hi everyone, it's been a while since we've given a detailed update. Just a while, huh? So, development progress. There are months in which they work pretty intensely, and months in which they don't have time to get any progress done at all, which is a pretty inconsistent workflow. However, what's next is more interesting. Last time we spoke about the roadmap, we mentioned translations, porting the game to Go.4, improving the internal tooling. They actually don't mention any of this later, so I guess we can assume it's done. But, more importantly is, continuing the development of Chapter 2 and beyond. What they didn't mention, and ended up being a pretty big task, was restructuring the chapters of the game and fleshing out the multiple endings at the very end of the game. So, that basically explains what's been happening for the past year and a bit. For reference, the last devlog was posted on Steam in July 2024. It also explains what they meant by this post, where they first announced the devlog and said they rewrote some of the final chapter's dialogue. They then shared some small details about Chapter 2. It will have one large location composed of 15 plus scenes, two smaller areas, one of which is the lighthouse, plus the Black Pass and other doorknob locations. Several of those still need to be sprited and have their puzzles designed. I am personally quite excited to see these locations. I actually really like the one environment that Project Cat had quite a lot, so I'm intrigued to see how they do it in Paper Lily, though it sounds like they have quite a way to go with actually developing it. I also want to ask, the lighthouse is one of the smaller areas? Isn't that place kind of a main goal right now? Well, I'll just trust in the process. Depending on your actions in Chapter 1, up to 4 characters from the forest area might be back in Chapter 2. I think most of us know what this is about. Sai's gonna have kind of a bad time in Chapter 2. No, that's never a good sign. I'm surprised it took this long though, considering how many rituals he does. Like, that doesn't meant to be dangerous. Well, let's just hope he looks both ways before crossing the road. We're looking into making Little Cat's shop a bigger part of the game. Our hope is that you'll be able to buy some extra items of coins that can help you in certain quests or can alter the storyline in little ways. Nice, so the coins are actually going to be useful for more than just buying fish. Although I wonder if we can give Little Cat a pet every chapter and eventually turn the shop from a mini-zoo into a proper zoo. Hero will take on a slightly bigger role. This we know about from the unusual request video. Best Brother's getting more screen time and I am hyped! We realize it's been a long time, and in our last update we said we were considering a chapter-by-chapter release. This means that it's about time for Chapter 2 to be out, right? Yeah, no, not quite. We're still not quite fond of the chapter-by-chapter release idea for Paper Lily, so if we keep at it, chapters might all be released very close to each other, talking a few months apart at most. This is very important. We'll get a bunch of releases at once and I'm going to be overworked to death. Also, they're not committed to a chapter-by-chapter release, so they might want to do everything else at once instead. We'll see how that goes, I guess. But this isn't the whole story. I'll get back to that later. Our biggest issue with developing a chapter-by-chapter releases is that the game is heavily intertwined, so we do a lot of back and forth. For example, working on Chapter 3, tweaking something in 2, then they change a small detail in Chapter 4, then they realize it needs to be built on back in Chapter 2. Another issue with very spaced-out releases is that you guys seem to theorize a lot. We suspect that with enough time and detailed analysis of Chapter 2 and its secrets, some people could come close to figuring out many future story details. But thankfully they're not going to change the story just because someone figured out a plot point, so it's good for them. Basically the plan is just to work on Paper Lily as a whole and not care that much about, like, each chapter releasing or whatever. Also, headphone warning for the next clip? Deadline in mind. This means it'll be a while. We're talking years still. Sorry, Daily No fucking way! No! No fucking way! I was already expecting years, so this doesn't change that much other than a few small plans I had, but it's okay. It didn't matter too much anyway. If we could somehow work on this full-time, that would be living the dream, but life unfortunately doesn't allow it at the moment. After this is a thank you message that I would feel a bit weird quoting directly, so all I'm going to say is, thank you, Leaf6010! But I will point out, we're always trying to reduce the stress load on ourselves, which is why we aren't very vocal about our plans/promises. Completely understandable. And for us it seems like we shouldn't be expecting too much from them, just in general. Also remember earlier how they said things change a lot during development, which is cited as a reason why they're not very vocal. Now, the biggest question. Does this mean there will be no content from you for years? Well, remember long ago when we said, as things stand, we have the possibility to take breaks, work on different smaller games if we wish, change the direction or length of Paper Lily, and more mumbo jumbo? Well, maybe a few of you noticed. I didn't, sorry, I'm a fake fan. Rich flavors. We're pretty excited to announce a little game that we've been working on occasionally. This was initially a concept for a game jam that they didn't end up participating in. They've only put a couple of months' time into its development, scattered throughout the past year, when they wanted little breaks from the game. A few details? It's a comedy/mystery with light horror/gore elements. A lot of assets are done, but the programming isn't. It'll be under $10, but not free. It is releasing this year. Unlike Chapter 2. 3 endings, translations maybe, not in the Paper Lily universe, and it'll be on Steam and itch.io. The link to the Steam page is in the description. I've checked it out, and it seems really good. I am so hyped. The reason for these small side projects is a small break from Paper Lily development, and to help fund the game, since remember, Leaf is working part-time on the game, and the game is free, so it's not giving them much income. They need to have some extra income to stay alive, obviously, since Paper Lily is quite a while away. So they're also not spending too much money on this, which sadly means no music from the Paper Lily composers, and they're mostly using stock music. But it's fine, I bet most of you didn't realize stock music is used in Paper Lily as it is, although the majority is original music. And that concludes the devlog. Juicy devlog this was. Honestly, I am hyped for that new game, and I was expecting something smaller, so I'm extremely happy to see this, and to see the transparency about the development process. I'll talk more about this later, maybe in tomorrow's video. This has been day 463 of Daily Paper Lily News, April 28th, 2026.